What's up guys, it's GG Gaming, and today I'm going to be showing you the difference between Sucrose and Venti, and I'm going to show you why you don't need Venti. Sucrose is a perfectly fine replacement, and I wouldn't even consider a replacement. In some aspects, she's actually very much better, and you'll be seeing that in this video today. So I'm going to be hopping into the Viridscent domain now. I'm going to be using Zhao as my main damage dealer, and I'm also going to be using Sucrose and Venti to showcase them. Keep in mind, there's not going to be any elemental reactions that proc because they're all animal. The main thing about Sucrose and Venti is that they can kind of control the opponents. Venti will suck them up and make them immobile, while Sucrose will do her Q and they will basically be immobile as well because she keeps on tossing them up and down. And they both can be infused with elements. They're actually pretty similar. So you can see right now that I'm actually doing pretty much similar damage and it's a similar result. So the reason why Sucrose still takes the cake here is because Sucrose is actually much more accessible. So you can get her C6 much easier, and you don't even need her C6. So you could practically get a bonus. And also another important thing about Sucrose and Venti, this is something you need to do on both of them. You must run Viridscent Vernier 4-piece set if you want the maximum damage output from them. And this is because if you have Viridscent Vernier, you can swirl an element, and whatever element is swirled, you're going to be doing much more damage with that element because they're going to reduce that element's resistance by around 35%, I'm pretty sure. And also, they'll obviously get the 15% animal damage bonus, but since they're not going to be running as DPSs, it doesn't matter that much, but it's still a nice bonus. But you must have the 4-piece set if you want maximum output. Even though for this example, it's not the prime showcase to do that, because they're both on Animo and Zhao is also Animo. If you're running almost any other DPS, like Child, Diluc, Keking, or Kaching, you're going to be doing so much more damage with the 4-piece Viridscent, especially with Sucrose and Venti instead of like the Traveler or Jean, because they're going to be swirling nearly constantly with their ult and even their E, especially like with their Q though. So that's the main reason why you want to be running Viridscent Vernier. And here's the bonus fact that I've seen every single Genshin Impact YouTuber miss out on. So you can actually do more damage with 4-piece Viridscent and your main DPS than Vaporize with your main DPS, or possibly even Melt. So the reason you can do that is because you're going to have much more consistent DPS. The way this is going to work is you have to infuse your element of your main DPS into the Q of Venti, for example, or Sucrose, but I'm just using Venti as an example. But anyway, you're going to be doing this by infusing the element of your main DPS into your Q of Venti or Sucrose, and when they're running 4-piece Viridscent, the opponents are going to have 35% reduction on their resistance to the element infused into the Q of Venti or Sucrose. So if your main DPS element is infused into the Q of Venti or Sucrose, you're going to be doing much more damage consistently compared to a reaction like Vaporize, which will, although it is strong, it only procs certain amount of times because of an internal cooldown, and sometimes it procs as reverse Vaporize. So it just makes it less consistent, and overall, this strategy has much more DPS compared to Vaporize or Melt. Okay, let's get back into the main point of the video. There are actually a few reasons why I think Sucrose outshines Venti, and here are those reasons. The first reason is accessibility. Very few people are going to get Venti, and if you have a character like Sucrose who can basically do the same thing as Venti, it would be dumb to pull for Venti when you already know that Sucrose can do this. Unless you're trying to get crowd control and a very vicious crowd control like Venti, you really have no need for pulling for him, because you can already get decent crowd control with Sucrose, but Venti just has a more vicious one. The second reason I suggest going for Sucrose instead of Venti is because a lot of people can't use Venti as well or as effectively just because they don't have ranged characters which do a lot of damage, like Ganyu, for example. While with Sucrose, you can hit the opponents even if you're a melee user, like a Claymore user or a longsword user, such as the Traveler, Diluc, Child. But if you're using Venti, 90% of the time you're not going to be able to hit the opponents with melee users, so it's really no point in using his ult if you don't have someone who can reach his ult. Finally, the last reason why I think you should go for Sucrose instead of Venti is because with Sucrose, you can easily get an increase of damage bonus when you're trying to get one-shots. Even if you're not trying to do that, it's a very nice thing to have just because the damage bonus lasts for a while. I'm pretty sure she provides Elemental Mastery, or it might just be a more accessible way for the 4-piece Viridscent. thing to activate. Thank you for watching this video, and if this video helped you, be sure to like and subscribe.